Hey everyone, and welcome. You know, sometimes to really get the pulse of a nation, you don't need to look at a whole decade. You just need 1 week. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a few seemingly random events that all went down in early November 2025 and piece them together to see what larger story they're telling us about modern India.
So really, what can 1 week tell us? Well, we're about to connect the dots between some pretty big things, like new rules for AI governance,
Some major moves happening in global politics.
Huge milestones in space exploration.
And at the same time, celebrations of some deep, deep national pride.
On their own, they might just seem like news headlines, but together, they paint a really fascinating picture. All right, let's get into it.
First up, let's talk tech, because what we're seeing here is India moving from just being a player in global innovation to actually helping write the playbook for it. And this first part of the story, it starts way up, high above the Earth. On November 7th, the NSA-IR satellite was declared fully operational. Now, this isn't just any satellite. It's a massive joint mission between NASA and India's ISRO. And in fact, it's their most advanced collaboration ever. That's a huge statement of trust and shared technological muscle.
Okay, now let's come back down to earth and talk about AI. Because in that very same week, India was tackling artificial intelligence from two completely different but equally important sides. On one hand, it was setting its own rules for the game at home. And on the other, one of the biggest names in AI was basically giving a massive nod to India's unique place in the world.
So on November 5th, the government rolled out its AI governance guidelines. Now, the key phrase you need to know here is light touch. The idea isn't to create heavy-handed rules that could kill innovation. Instead, it's about building a flexible framework that lets the technology grow while still managing the risks. It's a really tricky balancing act for sure.
And just as that's happening, something really significant is going on over on the global stage. OpenAI, the company that made ChatGPT, launched something called IndyQA. And that number you see there, 11, that's how many Indian languages this new benchmark is designed to understand. So why is this such a big deal? Well, get this. This is OpenAI's first ever region-specific benchmark. It's a direct acknowledgement that India is the second largest market for ChatGPT in the entire world. They're not just translating words, they're trying to get the cultural context right. It just goes to show how India is fast becoming a real center of gravity in the global AI conversation.
All right, let's shift gears to our second theme, because this all builds on itself. Here, we're going to look at India's growing influence, and we see it through two different lenses: the incredible success of its diaspora and its growing role in global aid.
So in that same week, over in the United States, Ghazala Hashmi was elected Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. She was born in India, and her victory was a huge historical milestone. As the quote says, she became the first Muslim and first South Asian American woman to hold the position. It's just a really powerful example of the Indian diaspora making its mark in global politics.
And that global influence? It's not just political. It's humanitarian, too. In that same week, India sent out its first major shipment of fortified rice to Papua New Guinea. The process is pretty straightforward, but absolutely vital. Rice is sourced from Chhattisgarh, it's enriched with crucial micronutrients like iron and B12, and then it's sent to a place where it can make a real difference.
And listen, we're not talking about a small trial run here. That first shipment alone was 20 metric tons. This is India really stepping onto the world stage as a key supplier of nutrient-rich food, tackling global food security head-on.
Okay, for our final piece of the puzzle, we've got this incredible contrast playing out. You have a nation that's honoring its deep, rich history, and at the same time, it's flexing its modern, self-reliant military power.
So this part of the story starts with a look way, way back. 150 years to be exact. That's the anniversary being celebrated for Vande Mataram, one of India's most important national songs and a really powerful symbol of its struggle for freedom.
The song was actually written on November 7, 1875, and it became this incredible anthem for freedom fighters. Then, decades later, in 1950, the newly independent country gave it a status equal to the national anthem, really cementing its place in the heart of the nation. Now, let's rocket forward from 1875 all the way to 2025. In the exact same week as this historic anniversary, the Indian Air Force held its big Air Force Day celebration. And what was their theme? Air power beyond boundaries. You can feel the shift, right? This isn't about looking to the past. This is all about projecting future strength.
And this was way more than just a catchy slogan. The air show they put on was all about self-reliance. They showcased the indigenous Tejas fighter jet right next to the modern Rafale. The air chief even laid out a vision to grow from an air force into an aerospace force. I mean, that's a pretty clear signal of ambition, right?
So, let's step back. We've talked space, AI, politics, global aid, deep history, and modern military tech, all happening in the span of just a few days. So let's connect these dots one last time and see what kind of picture we're left with.
So what does it all mean when you put it together? The tech story shows us a nation that's not just innovating, but also shaping the rules of the game. Its global footprint is getting bigger, both through the success of its people abroad and its actions on the world stage. And its heritage? Well, it's not some dusty relic. It's the very foundation it's using to build a modern, powerful, and ambitious future. Every single piece reinforces the others.
When you weave all these threads together, you really do get a snapshot of a nation that is moving, and moving fast. It's a nation shaping its own path while its impact is being felt thousands of miles away. And remember, that was all in just 1 week. So the real question is, what will the next one bring?